Good morning, friends, or if it's morning when you're listening to this or watching this. I wanted to hop on real fast while I'm thinking about this. Actually, I've been thinking about this topic for a little bit now, and I did an email about it last week, and I've contemplated it and chewed on this more. What I was calling last week was emotional agreements, and people, as I've watched people move and breathe within the world and watched myself and talked with people, I've talked just recognizing how the thinking patterns of people. I was talking to my cousin about this yesterday, and then last Monday I was talking to another friend about this, and I came to realize it's not actually emotional. We're not actually agreeing with our emotions. We're actually agreeing with the thoughts that are creating our emotions. So science shows us that we have a thought about a circumstance. The circumstances are neutral. They are what they are. And we have a thought about that. And that thought creates an emotional charge. It sends all this chemical cocktail throughout our entire body, and we label that as something: happy, sad, mad, frustrated, overwhelmed. We label it something. And this is a good thing to help identify. And every emotional cocktail, every emotion feels different. So we label it as something different. So that gives us language, gives us symbols to what we are feeling inside of our body. Beautiful, wonderful thing. So it seems like it seems like we're actually agreeing with that emotion, but actually we need to break it down even further and examine the thought that we are agreeing with that's creating this emotion. So thoughts just like come into our heads automatically sometimes, or don't even, like, subconsciously, they just come into our minds, and it creates this feeling inside of us and then we act upon that. And what happens is we end up doing things that we don't want to do. We are reactive to things instead of stopping and pausing. Oh, I'm having this feeling within in my body. Let me stop and think about the thought that's creating that. There's nothing has gone wrong. This is how we're wired. This is how we're made. God made us this way. It's a beautiful thing. We're just not meant to always be sitting in this pool of this chemical cocktail pool. I think why this has been so hard for me to wrap around is that I was taught growing up that you can't trust your emotions. Well, as I think about this, I'm really thinking it's that our thoughts are the ones that we can't necessarily trust, that we shouldn't always be agreeing with, that we need to examine carefully. As a man thinketh, so he is in his heart. There's a proverb about that. I think there's a Bible verse. There's probably like lots of cultures have that, something in that vein. And so our bodies are just responding to a thought. So it's really the thoughts that we need to capture and take hold of and really examine. Those emotions, those feelings that are coming up are just merely indicators, like lights on a dashboard that are flashing, like, hey, this needs to be attention. This needs to be addressed. So I really... our thoughts control our feelings, and this is such good news, and this came to me as such good news. Let me give you an example. I was talking to a friend, and she was telling me about a story of when she had been held captive by this. For 40 years of her life, she just had resentment towards her brother. She loved her brother, but she just had this feeling of resentment. And through coaching, not me, with a different coach, we were just discussing this, that she realized that when she was just itty bitty, 2 or 3 years old, she had this experience with her parents and her brother where she had the thought, she agreed with the thought, didn't even realize it as she was 2 or 3, that she agreed with the thought that her brother was better than her. Her brother was more important than her. So throughout her entire life, her brain found evidence for this, and she grew up resenting her brother. No fault through, she didn't realize this. It's no fault through her home, but she realized that she didn't like this feeling of resentment towards her brother, and so she got coached on this. And then when she realized that she didn't have to agree with this thought that that her brother was better than her, more important than her in the family, she could release that thought and no longer agree with it, and it freed her. And this was such good news for her, and it's good news for you and for me too. And we don't have to agree with every thought that enters our mind. We don't have to keep thinking that thought over and over and over again. That creates a belief inside of us. You get to choose. And this is the work, like, I cannot emphasize enough how such good news this is, and how much I'm really taking this in and just really chewing on this. You get to control that chemical cocktail. So there's thoughts that you do want to agree with, and then there's thoughts that don't serve you, that create feelings inside of you that you just don't like, that keep you stuck. There's so much out of our control in this world. This is something that we get to control. And this is the work I'm doing with myself. It's the work I'm doing with my clients. Another example is talking to somebody about discouragement and feeling so discouraged in this thing that she wants to do, and it's not happening. So just okay, that's a normal human response to things not going the way you want them to go. Yeah, of course you're discouraged. Okay, but you don't have to agree with the thought that's creating discouragement. Nothing has gone wrong. So what do you want to do? You don't have to agree with it. Okay, don't have to agree with it. So what do you want to do? What do you want to think in order to move forward and to do the thing that you want to do? A lot of times we can't even see these. We can't. And I was talking to a client, he's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that thought was there. That's what I'm there for. That's what I'm there to unpeel the onion, unpeel the layers, and help you to see what you're actually thinking and what you're actually creating. That's what I'm trained to do. And so this is like beautiful, beautiful news. But the first step is to actually stopping and recognize what you're thinking about a situation, a person, a circumstance, whatever it is, and write those thoughts down. Get those thoughts out of your brain. They're not meant to be kept there. Your brain is not a storage unit. It's meant to get out and get them into the light, and then bring him to a coaching call, or bring him to a trusted friend, somebody that you know that isn't going to be judgmental or you won't create shame. Examine them without fault, judgment, or shame. And every time you do this, you are changing your brain. You are saying yes to the things that were made for you. And so I want to make an invitation to you. If this resonates with you, if you're curious about what thoughts you are thinking that might be keeping you stuck or creating feelings of overwhelm, resentment, stress, any of that, I'd like to invite you to book a free consult with me. And on this call, we're just going to gently explore this. It's not coaching per se, but it's helping you to decide if coaching is right for you, and helping you see what you might be agreeing with. And then we can make a step-by-step process to help you shift those thoughts to thoughts that serve you, that help you go out into the world and create and do and be who you're created to be. It's like, what is such an honor to be able to do this. And you don't have to do this alone. So just simply in the comment section, hit I'm ready, or send me a message, and I'd love to talk with you. Like, you're not stuck. So that's just a thought. The thought is, I'm not stuck. And so you feel like you're planted and grounded and you can't move. Of course you feel like that, because you have the thought that you're stuck. So let's change that thought. Let's change that, so because you are one thought away from movement, and I can help you do that. Until next time, until our next, this was number 2 in emotional/thought agreement, and then I'm going to do another one next week. So I will see you next week.